Hello everyone, welcome to Headlines of the Day. This is 24th of March and we are back again with some of the major articles from the Hindu newspaper. Let's begin our today's edition with the very first article on page number 1 from GS3 Economy section that is headlined as Exports Cross $400 billion Annual Target as Goods Shipments Jump. So our Prime Minister has congratulated the farmers, weavers and micro, small and medium enterprises on this achievement. From this article, certain key highlights to consider are: what is the present status of India's annual goods export? How did COVID-19 pandemic and the global uncertainties following the Ukraine crisis affect India's ability to reach its exports? The various steps of the government and the significance of ongoing negotiations for FTAs with several trade partners. Moving on page number 1 itself, from GS2 Polity and Governance, you'll find an article that is headlined as Centre to Recall Order on COVID Containment. From this article, you have to know about the Disaster Management Act of 2005, its objective, challenges, and the possible scenario ahead. Moving further on page number 2, from GS2 Polity and Governance, there's an article about Lokayukta. Mr. Harish Chandra Mishra was sworn in as new Lokayukta. From this article, you have to know about Lokayukta, its powers and functions, how does Lokayukta work in the states, why has the Lokpal Lokayukta issue always generated intense debate in the country, key features of Lokpal and Lokayukta Act of 2013, the jurisdiction of Lokpal, need and the limitations, and what is the possible way ahead. On page number 8 from GS3 Economy section, it's an editorial article about global uncertainties, India's growth prospects. From this article, you have to know about the key findings of National Statistical Office for India's GDP along with second advance estimates for 2021-22 and how normalization of India's economy has been disturbed by the ongoing geopolitical uncertainties. What are other economic challenges and what steps needs to be taken further in this particular context. Moving on page number 9 from GS2 International Relations part, there are two articles on the Ukraine-Russia crisis, understanding Putin and the Russian psyche. And the second article talks about Russia's war must stop. From these articles, certain key highlights to consider are: you have to know about the brief history of Russia, what patterns can we see from Russian past, including the period of communist rule, how it is related to the present aspirations of Russia in context of the Ukraine crisis, the global ramifications, and further you can also know about the United Nations General Assembly resolution on aggression against Ukraine, the International Court of Justice ruling in this context, and what is the possible scenario ahead. Moving on page number 10 from GS2 Polity and Governance, there is an article about the Mekadatu water project. This article is headlined as the controversy over the proposed Mekadatu water project. So you have to know about this project, how will it benefit Karnataka, what is the current status, Karnataka stand, why is Tamil Nadu opposed to it, why is the drinking water project as a source of confrontation, and why are both the parties and why are both the states unable to come to settlement, the key analysis and the possible scenario ahead. Moving on page number 10 itself, from GS3 Science and Technology, there's an article about the Artemis Program of NASA. From this article, you have to know about the Artemis mission, the mission trajectory, what are the future missions in this particular Artemis program. Moving on page number 11 from GS2 Social Justice, there's an article about the nutrition fallout of school closures. From this article, you have to consider how the pandemic adversely affected the prime source of health and nutrition for school children, finding of various reports and publications, government's effort to address the issue, and what more needs to be done in this particular context. Let's move on page number 12. From GS2 Constitution, there's an article about Article 355 of the Constitution. It says that Article 355 needed in Bengal, says Congress leader in Lok Sabha Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. And from this article, you have to know about what is Article 355 of the Indian Constitution. Moving on page number 14, there's an article from GS2 Polity and Governance that is headlined as Few Villages Received Waste Disposal Infrastructure. From this article, you have to know about the overview and key features of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, performance and significance of this mission. Moving on page number 15 from GS2 Education section, there's an article about the Abel Prize. Now, American mathematician Sullivan wins the Abel Prize. From this article, you have to know about the key facts related to the Abel Prize. And moving on page number 16 from GS3 Economy section, there's an article that is headlined as PLI share in a key sector capex set to be 13 to 15% over 3 to 4 years. So from this article, you have to know about the production linked incentive scheme. Why is the production linked scheme needed? Which sectors currently have the PLI scheme and which sectors are likely to see the PLI schemes introduced in the near future? Alright, that's a wrap of today's edition of Headlines of the Day. For regular updates, you can follow us on our social media handles. And for more such videos, do stay tuned to the Next IAS YouTube channel.